Episode 342. Today we're talking about NHL training camps turning a corner, and every league is starting to play now. So we have the OHL, and they're starting tonight. The USHL started yesterday, and the Q is right around the corner too. And a lot of other leagues are right around the corner. So it's really exciting to see. Obviously, really exciting time of year. Some of the pro leagues out in Europe have already started, and so we're getting full swing back into hockey now, which is really good to see. And we have the BCHL right on the corner too, and the NAHL, which is around a week or so away. So it's going to be exciting. Obviously, going to be a really good year. A lot of injuries so far, which is really interesting throughout the training camp and early stages of training camp, is how many teams have announced injuries. And there's been at least one or two for almost every team, which is pretty crazy. So that's been an interesting start. Other than that, it's pretty cool to see how everything's come back. And it's just great that the off season's over, everything's right around the corner, and we're gonna get full swing into the hockey season once again, which is always really exciting. It's always really fun. And it's always something that you're looking forward to as a hockey fan for a very long period of time after the Stanley Cup Finals ends. And very exciting that it's back. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I always get super excited for this time of year, every single year, because you always know that hockey's coming back, and you're just able to you feel a sense of gratitude towards it because when you're without it for so long throughout the summer, it becomes harder to watch other things, at least for me personally. So it's good that it's back. It's exciting that it's back. In terms of Chicago and their training camp, I'm really curious to see how the whole situation plays out. Well, you mentioned yesterday how and some of the tryout situations and what they are per team. Robbie Fabry just signed a tryout with the Penguins with Rucker McGroarty down. With Chicago now and the Matt Grzelcyk situation, it becomes even more interesting now that we see Wyatt Kaiser. He just got extended today. So right as I mentioned that in my articles, of course he gets extended. So it was interesting. He got a 2 year extension, 1.7 million per year. And I would imagine the holdup with him was money. I don't think it was term. I think 2 years is pretty reasonable, but I think it was more money than anything else. But my other thought was, okay, they're looking to get to the cap floor. So it doesn't really matter how much you pay him necessarily. If you're going over 2.5 or 3 million, that's probably where the line is a little bit drawn. But 1.7 is very reasonable for him, and they have plenty of cap room to do it. So it confuses me even more why there was such a long holdout with him. So it's just a very interesting situation. But other than that, the big thing in Chicago is Laurent Brossoit, another injury. He's going to be out for a long period of time. He's out month to month. He had a hip surgery in the off season, so he's going to be out for an extended period of time. I don't know how likely it is that he plays this year at all, but that's another interesting situation to follow. And with the goalies, luckily, you can it's not the worst thing in the world if he gets hurt because you still have Arvid Soderblom and you have Spencer Knight. So that's gonna be your tandem throughout the year. So that works out really nicely there. And just the way that Knight can play and the potential that he brings in net this year, it's gonna be very exciting. It's gonna be really, really exciting to see what he can bring in net and how he can do that over a full course of an NHL season. I'm really excited to see it. I'm sure he's really excited for the challenge. And it's gonna be something unique because we've never seen him play a full series of games in the NHL. We've seen him play around 30 or so games as the maximum. We haven't seen him play more than that. So I'm really curious to see how the whole situation plays out and how everything plays out there. It's gonna be fun to watch and really excited to see him play in that. But as for the other training camps, I mean, I think one of the bigger ones you're excited to see back in the league is Jack Hughes after the injury that he took last offseason. So now he's back. Now he feels good. I think we're going to see an even bigger season out of him. He was dominating last year too. So it's going to be interesting to see how his year plays out and how he's able to sustain that offensive impact long term. But again, I mean, there's so many guys. It's really cool to see the impact and like the line rushes and who's pairing up with who. The most interesting situation to me right now is what is Toronto gonna do? I think that's probably the most interesting team to evaluate right now. What is Toronto gonna be? What is Toronto gonna do? How are they gonna have sustained offensive impact without Mitch Marner? I think that's the biggest question. I don't necessarily think they're going to be that bad. I actually don't feel like it will hurt them as much. Obviously, you're going to lose in a 100-point player, but it's not like the Leafs, they don't have other guys that can step up. Like William Nylander could step up even more, right? We could see some of their depth guys take over even more. And some of the offseason acquisitions made a lot of sense in terms of what they could bring to the lineup, too. So you have that factored in. And I think this is a more well-rounded Leafs team, you could argue, even without Marner, which is weird to say. But when you look at their top nine, they have a good degree of skill, offense, guys who can play two-way games, guys who are competitive, guys who can hound the puck. This is still a deep group. This is still a group that can make an impact. And I really don't know what they're going to be in the postseason. But I look at this team, and for example, you look at where Matthew Nyes could go. Like his production could take off to another level this year without Marner, and he's going to be relied upon as basically their top line guy almost every night. So I think the line they were rolling with today in camp was Nyes with Matthews and Matthias Michelli, who was an offseason acquisition. So I think Michelli, he had almost a 60-point year one year. You don't guarantee that he's going to bring that offensive production back. But what you can guarantee is at least top nine level play out of him. Like he can be a top nine guy, still relatively young and cap controlled. He's 24. But 2 years ago with Arizona, he had 57 points in 82 games. And there's potential looking like he was going to take off in his game. So there's still some untapped upside that you don't really know what you're going to get out of him quite yet. But you can rely upon him as a top nine guy. Same with Dakota Joshua. You can rely upon him as a top nine guy. Nick Waugh, who is actually a pretty good acquisition. And getting at least something for Mitch Marner is important, but getting Nick Waugh back was important too. He fills out that third line center void, and then that pushes Scott Laughton a little down, but that's fine because they still have the depth at center. And then you still have Bobby McMahon on the other one. You still have Max Domi. Like this is still a deep team. It's still a deeper version of the Leafs. Obviously, when anytime you lose Mitch Marner, it's gonna be tough. But they still have the impact and stylistically different style of players to fill the mold a little bit and to be able to make an impact. So it could be a benefit because now you can argue the core four with the Leafs is Nyes, Matthews, Tavares, and Nylander. So when you look at those style of play from each player, every player is different, right? Marner brought elements that were similar to the other guys. I think you look at this version of the core four, different elements. And again, Matthew and I still has the potential to take off. So we might even see 80, 90, maybe even 100 points out of Matthew Nyes this year. I wouldn't be surprised. I just think the potential is there. He can climb to a new level and he could take over. And I think this is the best opportunity for him to do that now that Mitch Marner's gone. So we're going to see, again, I'm just really curious what the Leafs are going to be, more so than any other team this year, but not overall too concerned about what they're going to be.